Hello, I'm Martin, I'm a body language specialist, and in this video I'm going to speak about where and how and why maybe am I observing body language in the people that I casually met on the street. If you want to be good at observing body language, there is a course that I have created. It's called Body and Mind Reading. You can see a picture over here, and it's on Udemy. You can grab that course and be observer of body language as well. With no further ado, I will talk about how and where and how and why am I observing body language. There will be two categories. I'll be talking about where I observe people for fun and when I'm actually getting some sort of information and some sort of value of that observing. The for fun part is a fun part, obviously, and it's not for me to get an information that I'm usually building upon when I'm in a conversation. It's solely for my pleasure, for training the observational skill, that when I really get to the point where I need to get some sort of information, I can get them. So the first place I use and I am observing people at is on the street. When I'm, for example, walking, I go to work, I go to pick up my wife, doesn't matter where I'm going, and I remember that I can be observing people. I'm looking at people that are passing by me, and there are a number of things that I'm observing, and number of things you can get, you can know, you can find out about a person. So you are observing the way they walk, how long steps they are taking, what's their shoulder position, what are they wearing, how they look at you, do they look at you, don't they look at you, where they do break eye contact, they break eye contact in a level of eyes, so they look on the side, or do they break it down, do they break it up, where do they look at you, do they look at your hands, do they look at your legs, do they look at your head, don't they look at you at all? There are so many things that you can be observing. When you when you see two people or a group on a street, it's a great thing to observe as well. When two people are walking, they are telling a lot about themselves too. So you are looking how synchronized are they? Do they move the same? Do they have the same steps? Do they have the same hand movement? Do they walk on the same level, or is there a person who is a little bit ahead of the other person? That person is probably more dominant or quicker walker, or just that. You can make the assumptions about that, you can make the interpretations. This is not what I'm here for today. When you are observing groups on the street, well, there is a you can be observing their feet. Who is involved in that group? Who is being a little bit left out? Who is more likely the leader of the group? The leader of the group is interesting to observe in girls groups. It's way easier to spot the alpha one, the alpha girl, the most cool, the coolest one, the coolest girl in the group, because she will be the one who is setting where they what they are doing at the moment, what do they like, where do they walk, and she will be most likely walking first, and the other one will be following her. And when you are observing a group, there is very often a person who attracts every single other member of the group. So when you see a person who stands somehow and other people are pointing their feet towards that person, it means that this person is really an alpha of the group. So you can be practicing for fun like that. Second place I observe people at is cafe or a restaurant, but cafe is closer to my heart, so I am mentioning cafe. I'm not happy to hear that, but I observe baristas, the way they act, the way they fulfill their job, the role they've been got. And in baristas, I observe their confidence, their shoulder position, their movements, where do they look, how they carry their head, how they carry their body, how do they treat customers. What's happening when there is a difficult customer who is making some problems? What is the way the barista is handling that? Is he confident? Is she confident? Is she not very confident? Is she like not nice to that person? Do they maintain stuff? Do they establish and maintain eye contact? Because that's an important thing. Are they nervous when they are talking to customers? Are they nervous when they are talking to me? Are they nervous when someone is asking them something they don't know or they are not 100% sure about? This all creates very nice picture about who the person is, or is a right whether it's a right person for barista job or job in a hospitality industry, because the body language of the barista or the person who's working there is crucial for well-being of that cafe, I'd say. I'm observing people who are sitting there when there are couples, when there are business meetings. There are a lot of stories happening in a cafe. In fact, I used to work in a cafe in London, and that was a place where I got a lot of observing experience. I ran some of the experiments over there, and I've been observing people in many different scenarios, and it was really interesting. There was a person in that group who was forced to be there. I don't mean forced in a bad way, but she clearly would like to be someplace else. There was a business meeting which didn't go very well. So, a cafe or any other restaurant is a great place to observe and to get some information. And when you are there and you find a person who might be available talking to you, well, there is another thing that you can use at that very moment, and you can see the card up on there. If you want to start talking to a person, there is a way how to find that out, but it's on another video. Another fun place to observe body language is online. There are many observations, that are many analysis of body language on my channel, on other channels as well, and this is mostly for fun. You are observing people in different scenarios. There are many people observing like a negative body language in interviews, like interrogations, negotiations and stuff like that. There are some of the positive body language stuff, like how to get better, how to speak better, how to better rely, how to better align with people that you are talking to, how to find a similar topics. There are many observations like that, and this is what I do as well. I love the positive body language, so how to speak better, how to act better, how to form a better relationships. That's where I observe people as well. It will also be coming in the future on this channel. I'm running out of the for fun places. There are many more, but for a time's sake, I will cut them right now. If you have any questions, anything that might be added to this point, please leave a comment down below. I'd be very happy hearing from you. The other category is for information. I observe people to get information. I observe people to communicate with them better. That is the fact. So, how do I do that? This is probably not more of a where, but how and why. I'm doing it everywhere. At home with my wife, with my parents when I come to visit them. I do it at work with my boss, with the owner of the company I work for. I do it with the baristas that I'm talking to. I do it with every single person. But how am I doing it, and what am I doing exactly? When I start talking to a person, there is a thing that switches off in my brain, and I'm not very aware that I'm observing body language, but I'm naturally good with absorbing their way of acting, of their behavior, and adopting that and adjusting my behavior so I match them. So it's easier for us to talk to each other, because if you really want to form a better relationships, better building a better rapport, it's better for you if you can align to their energy level, to their behavioral style, and then you are doing a great job bonding with the person. But there are other stuff as well. And if you want to know more about how to start talking to a person and how to align with them, there is a course that I've created. It's called How to Start a Conversation, and that's about exactly that. So there is a link down in the description as well. Well, So when I talk to that person, I observe how quickly do they speak, how loud are they, what words do they use, how much their gesture, what are their body movements, how far do they stand from me, how are they changing in the process of the communication, because that is an important thing. And when I get these things, and when I get these body language clues, and I'm talking about seconds of the conversation, because you will get a lot about the person in the very beginning of the conversation. And it is usually right. You are only deepening the knowledge about the person, but as on another point in this video. So when I get to know these things, I'm applying that on myself. So when there is a person who is moving a lot, who is gesturing like this, who is crazy like I don't know, I am trying to match them in their energy level. And that is my way of observing body language and using that skill in my everyday communication. Second point is very similar to the first one, but observing baseline of that person and noticing the differences from that. And this is not for the purpose of aligning better with the person and creating a better rapport, but finding out when the person is not feeling 100% alright. It's important to notice that I am combining two body language principles, if I can say it like this, or theories. There is a theory who is saying that there are absolutes. So, for example, when I cross my arm, I'm angry. I'm making stuff up, but this is the theory. Not proper one, but this is the way it works. When you cross your arms, you are closed. This is it. And they are not considering the personality and the specific person that is behind that. And there is the opposite one, that you have to observe the person, and then according to context of the person you are determining what each body language clues mean. But I'm combining these a little bit, and it works well for me. So when I come to a person, I haven't seen that person at all, and I observe them for a while, we are talking for a while, and I notice the person is not talking that much, is crossing their arms and is maybe looking away. Well, I combine these things, and even though I have no baseline, I have no solid baseline of that person, I assume they are not 100% alright, and I treat them that way. I'm trying to cheer them up or do whatever to improve the energy in that communication. And it works very well for me. It may be a little bit polarizing, this approach, but it really worked with me. So this is the way I approach that. And when I notice the person is not alright, 100% alright, they are happy to be cheered and they are happy to be listened to, and it just works well. And the third point is that the longer you know the person, the more accurate observings you can make. You get most of the messages, most of the behavior traits, or whatever you want to call it, in the very beginning of the relationship, in the first minutes or an hours of a conversation. But the longer you know the person, the more complex and in depth the observations are. So, for example, I've been working in a place that I'm right now for about 7 months since the New Year's. And just last week, I've seen my boss really angry. I haven't seen her like this never before. So I put that in a note, and now I know what does she look like when she's really angry. I have a reference point for a future, and when I will be dealing with her, I will know when it's over and when it's not, and what does it look like when it's getting to the point when it's over. So when you know the person long enough, you can make the observations more accurate, so you will treat the person better, so you won't be that surprised that something like happens. you won't be that surprised that the person snapped because you saw that coming, because you've seen that in the past. This is the way, how am I using that? It's the same at home when I'm with my wife. I know the tells that are telling me that there is going to be probably very thin ice and that I need to be very careful not to mess up something at that moment. And or it's telling me that I will mess up something because, well, we know how it works. So it helps me to prepare for that and know what's coming in the future, which is also an enormous relief. And it also has a downside because you may become a little bit paranoid, but this is also on another video. Have you got any questions with the other one? Do you maybe know some of these? Well, how are you? How are you and where are you and why are you observing people? Please share your stories. Please share your stories. Please share your, I don't know, experiences or thoughts on this video. I'll be very happy reading them and replying on them, and I'll be looking forward to see you in the next video, which before it is released you can check this video. Again, I'm not sure what will be in that video, but it's definitely a good one. So check it out. Bye.